Okay, second part of lesson 5 deals with trig values of angles that aren't specific on your unit circle. Okay, so with that being used, you use your calculator. The angle and reference have been given using your calculator degree mode. So you guys can use your phones too. Okay, so I go to my calculator on my phone, all right, and then I turn it, right, and there you go. Now, I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can get that for you. Ooh, no, you can't see it. So hold on. Okay. Whoa. If you look, the top there, see that right there? That RAD. See it? See it? RAD means it's in radians. Now in the bottom corner, you can see a DEG. Okay. So if I press that DEG, let me see where I am. Press that right there. Okay. Press DEG. There it is. It's go. Oh, now it's back. Okay. Press degrees. You see what I mean? Okay. And then RAD is gone. So now this is in degree mode. Okay. So theta is 110 degrees. So you put the 110 in. Okay. And they want, what am I going to do first? I'll do sine first. And they want both sine and cosine. Okay. So you put the sine in, and that's what you get. Okay. 0.939. How many decimal places? Round to the nearest hundredth, so 2 decimal places. Okay. So you can do it that way, of course. All right. Use your phone, or if you have your calculator, you should be, your default in your calculator should be in degrees. So if you're using your calculator, remember you go trig button, and we're going to do sine of 110. Enter. Okay, and get the same thing. If you don't, that means that you are in radians. So if I'm in radians, I go to 5 settings, I think. 2, there you go, document settings. See the angle? It should be in degrees. Okay, if it's not in degrees, if it's in radian, then you put it in degree and say make it default. Okay, so it'll be your default setting for everything. So then we go again, we'll do sine of 110, and that's 0.94. Okay, so you have to hang of it. If you want to use your phone to do these, that's fine. If you want to use the calculator to do them, that's fine. I'm just going to write in the answers to them. What they're looking for is they want you to find the sine and cosine of both the angle and its reference. Okay, so sine, oh, we're bouncing around here. So the sine of 110 degrees is 0.94. Okay, the cosine of 110 is negative 0.34. Okay, so those are their angles. Now, it says reference angle. This theta with a little r, that's the reference angle. Remember, a reference angle is always between 0 and 90, and it's always positive. Okay, so remember, it's always the distance from the x-axis, your bow tie. Okay, so this one is 110. It's in quadrant 2. So therefore, we do 180 minus 110, which is 70. So sine of 70 is 0.94. Cosine of 70 is 0.34. Okay, the next one, I'm just going to go sine, cosine, sine, cosine. 235, 235. And this is negative 0.82, negative 0.57. 235 is in quadrant 3. So we would do 235 minus 180 to find the bow tie portion of it. And we would get sine, a 55 is 0.82. Cosine of 55 is 0.57. The third one, sine of 282, cosine of 282. I remember, do these in your calculator or your phone, okay, just to check and make sure you can get this. 282 quadrant 4, so negative 0.98 and 0.21. Now we go back to quadrant 1, sine of 78, because you do 360 minus 282, okay, distance from the x-axis. Cosine 78, so 0.98 and 0.21. Okay. Now, why are the quadrants important? Okay. Because remember the quadrants A, S, T, C. So the first one was in quadrant 2. Sine was positive, cosine's negative. Reference angles are always in quadrant 1, so all these down here should all be positive, always. Reference angles are always positive. Okay? Now, 235 was in quadrant 3. Okay, tangent's positive in quadrant 3, so sine was negative, cosine was negative. 282 was in quadrant 4. Okay, and in quadrant 4, cosine is positive. So that means the sine is negative, cosine is positive. Okay, and then when you take the reference angle, what you should notice is the absolute value of these is the same. Okay, because it's the same reference angle. Okay, so be careful of that. All right, so what you're going to be starting to get comfortable with, I hope, is this unit circle. Now, no one is expecting you to memorize all quadrants, okay? What we'd like you to do is know or memorize the ones in quadrant 1, okay? The 30, the 45, and the 60. And that's what this exercise is based upon, okay? So if we tell you that the cosine of 30 is root 3 over 2, okay, based on unit circle. Sine of 30 is 1/2. So determine the following values in exact form. That's the key. Anybody can put these in your calculator. If you put the cosine of 150 in the calculator, you might get like 0.866, I think. Let's see what we get here. So cosine of, what is it, 150, boom, 866, okay? So if you give me that answer, that's not exact. All right, so I know that you're not using the unit circle or that you didn't memorize the unit circle, okay? So cosine of 150, let's talk about this, okay? Cosine of 150, okay? You know, based on looking at the unit circle, it's negative root 3 over 2. Well, how do we get that answer, okay? So based upon what they gave you. All right, so cosine of 150 has the same absolute value as its reference angle. So 150 is in quadrant 2, right there. Okay, the reference angle is here is 30. Okay, so cosine of 30, the absolute value of cosine 150, the absolute value of cosine 30 is the same. So cosine 30, but it's in quadrant 2, cosine is negative in quadrant 2. So therefore, that has a value of negative root 3 over 2. Okay? Sine of 150, reference angle, same thing, reference angle is 30. Sine of 30 is 1/2. It's in quadrant 2. Sine is positive in quadrant 2. Okay? Cosine 210, quadrant 3. Right? Quadrant 3. So to find the reference angle in quadrant 3, okay, here's your 210. This is the reference angle. 210 minus 180, which is 30, is your reference angle. Okay, again, they're all going to be 30. Okay, it's in quadrant 3, therefore negative root 3 over 2. Okay, sine 210, same thing. Quadrant 3, reference angle's 30, 1/2, negative, because it's in quadrant 3, so negative 1/2. Okay, and that's how you're getting all these positive and negatives on the unit circle. Okay, it's by your ASTC. So if you know quadrant 1, you're good, you're golden. Okay, cosine 330, sine 330, both in quadrant 4. Okay, so quadrant 4, 330 comes around like this. Reference angle here, it's always a distance from the x-axis. 360 minus 330, reference angle of 30 again, of course, because that's what they gave us. Cosine quadrant 4, positive. Sine in quadrant 4, negative. Cosine is going to be root 3 over 2. Sine is going to be negative 1/2. Okay, so that's how you use your reference angles and your ASTC. Okay. We should not forget trig functions, yeah, and radians. Okay, radians and degrees. Okay. Evaluate each of these following expressions. Changing them all to degrees first would probably be the easiest, of course. Pi over 2 is 90. Okay. Sine of 90 is 1. Sine of pi over 3 Okay, remember, we multiply by 180 over pi. 60, sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. 180 over pi, cancel, 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 270. Okay, cosine 270 is 0. Pi over 3 pi over 4, 180 over pi, cancel, 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 45. Okay, 45, 90, 135. So cosine 135, negative root 2 over 2. Okay. Other ones you want to start considering or making sure you understand is the 90, the 180, 270, 360. Okay, making sure you know them on the unit circle. Okay. So that's all we have. So for your homework, 5 through 10. Okay. So the fluency, 5 through 10. And then I'll put the answers up maybe later today or tomorrow. And like I said, you have a little creative project to do for your graded assignment this week instead of a quiz or work. So it's going to just be a little creativity for you to do. All right. All right. Have a good night.